This episode of ENVERT TV is being brought to you by the Indie Bible. The Indie Bible offers affordable music promotion for artists of all genres. For 20 years, the Indie Bible has helped independent artists with music promotion, getting radio airplay, distribution, radio promotion, and much more. The Indie Bible features the most comprehensive music business directory with over 1,500 pages, organized into 16 sections sorted by genre and geographic location, featuring radio stations, booking agencies, and more. The Indie Bible will help you to gain worldwide exposure across the US, Canada, UK, Europe, Australia, Asia, and everywhere else, all on a limited budget. To grab the latest edition of the Indie Bible, click the link in our description below.
Time heals wounds, just breathe. Look inside, you'll see. Time heals wounds, just breathe. Dare just stay with the kid, running away from the life we could live. The love I had to give was overwhelming. You can't accept it if you never felt it. You feel jaded, I'm unapologetic, but you ain't naturally because I'm magnetic. Go, I'm magnetic. To fight in spite of love we share, you might think twice. I like you like we like to fight and cry all nights when I can find the time to try. I like you like we like to fight in spite of love we share, you might think twice.
Hey, what's up, music lovers? It's Flisadam, the editor-in-chief here at ENVERT, and welcome back to another episode of ENVERT TV. During this special episode, I had a chance to catch up with community organizers, activists, and recording artists BYHAZE and Eboni Pearce. During our conversation, we discussed the role of artists in today's political and social climate, cancel culture, their singles I Like, and Flying Free, and BYHAZE spoke about his debut album, Clarity. Check out our full conversation here. Okay, so thank you so much for taking the time out to chat with us here at ENVERT. We really appreciate it. We're joined by a duo, the first time ever in ENVERT TV history. We have two artists on at the same time. So before we get into the questions, could you all introduce yourselves and tell us a bit about you as an artist?
Ebony, go ahead.
Okay, sure. First, thank you for having me as well. Thanks, Shane, for connecting me with this, you know what I'm saying? I'll say for myself as an artist, my name is Eboni Pearce. That is my actual name. I am a guitarist. I am, of course, a singer. I also write my own music as well. Like, I've never sung anything without me writing my own lyrics. And I'm just an all-around artist. I jewelry make. I like, to cook in the kitchen. I'm fashion, and I always get that question as far as if I could categorize my music, what would I pick? I would say it's just like a mixture of neo soul, jazz, rock, folk, and I'm getting into a little bit of rapping.
That's me.
So yeah, I like to do things. I like to get my hands into things and learn new instruments and all that.
We love it. And I'm BYHAZE, musician and community organizer. I tend to make my music and my art with centered around the focus of healing as a priority. And that looks anyway. And I feel like I'm trying to change the idea of what healing is, because a lot of people think it's about like the sage and the crystals only. But affirming yourself and confidence is a role in healing. The low moments when you're introspecting and you don't really feel yourself, that's also healing. So that's essentially the route that I've been taking. But I'm just like Ebony, singer, songwriter, started a bunch of organizations and doing work within Newark in the state. And I'm just growing at this point. I'm really excited to see where this journey of independence is taking me. So yeah.
There are a lot of avenues that we can kind of chat about as far as it relates to your music, both of you, music and your message overall. But I think the first thing that I do want to do is just a check-in to see how you both are managing, not only as creators, are you directly affected by the global pandemic where you don't have immediate access to your fans and by way of live shows, etc. But just as community organizers and healers, as you self-described yourself, to take on a lot of the things that are happening in the Black and Brown communities as Americans, as being a political year. Then on top of that, the recent passing of a lot of prominent African American creators and artists. So how are you all managing during this time?
So for me, I'm blessed and fortunate enough to still be working. I work for a really dope nonprofit called North Thrives. I've been there for like 3 years, and we bridge the gap between like community and youth programs. So we're doing our best to kind of help support a lot of the young people in Newark. Actually attend virtual programming and then also supporting like the program providers. So that's been my way of, giving back during this time. But I've honestly been doing my best to kind of like watch how much content I'm intaking, because with all of the trauma that's been going on, we're all in the house, especially at the beginning of the COVID-19. I was, we all were in the house and we were afraid to go outside. We didn't know what was going on. And then once the protests erupted and there were people getting killed, it just was very triggering. So if it's not through journaling, if it's not through, eating healthy, talking to my friends, taking breaks, taking walks, I've just been really prioritizing self-care. I've been radically practicing self-care and being unapologetic about it. Even when it comes to my job, they know my art is a part of my self-care. My rest is a part of my self-care. If I need to take a break from doing this whole 9 to 5 for 5 days a week, I do it because it's a part of honoring me. Because what we learned with this time is that we're not machines, we're not machines, we're humans. And this consistent, grind culture that we were in clearly wasn't working for us. So God was like, I'm gonna put a stop to everything that you thought was gonna happen and the way that y'all thought was you're gonna move, so y'all could look at yourselves and reflect. And that's what I've been so grateful to do, because right now, putting out my music during a pandemic, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm taking my attention away from the issues. And, but the truth of the matter is we all have a light and a purpose, and God wants us to shine our light and our purpose. So me sharing my art is just as significant as me working for my nonprofit and working with the young people, just as significant as me supporting a protest, So I've just been working through that and sharing my art, and it's dope because it's like people are like, yo, I needed this, like I needed this message, and I'm like, oh, I needed it too, that's why I wrote it. So it's a blessing. It's just a blessing in disguise, aside from all the tragedy.
And Ebony, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add to that as well.
Honestly, I mean, it's kind of the same but different. I am young, and I do have a 17-month-old, about to be 18 months. Yeah. So I think just in general, I was working a job. I was a real estate agent at one point. And then, of course, COVID happened. So I was like, I'm not coming back here. And I've been taking this time to really get right with my own spirit, and figure out what else I want to do. I don't really, if you have something else that you want to do in life, that's not, your 9 to 5 or what your job is, I recommend trying to take that time and figure out what your interests are. And I mean, use the word capitalize, but not in like the negative sense of the word, but really figure out how to use your power and live off of that. And how I've been holding up, knowing everything that's going on in the world. I used to be so in the news like almost every day, which you need to know what's going on in the world, because that keeps you humble and keeps the perspective open outside of your own world, and even recognizing that the things that you're going through really ain't that bad. Like you can get through it. It's not, it's not easy, but it ain't as hard as what it could possibly be. You were able to handle, certain situations that's given to you in life. So with that being said, I used to be really vocal on social media, which goes to how much you're intaking. I used to be very vocal on social media, and I'm just taking this time to be quiet and just look at my cards and trust in creator to what's to come, and just be patient.
I think you both had some really good gems in there, and I think that one that I really want to touch on a bit deeper into is the idea of creators taking a step back, either to heal, because most times creators are a direct representation of what they intake, whether it's from their fan base, from other artists that they're inspired by, or sonically kind of what's going on, and even current news, right? But on the opposite end is, as by Hayes, your point is that you've taken that the traumatic experiences that you're seeing and you're living through others, and turn it into art. So that just speaks to the power of creators, and especially in a community where most times the voices of those are not being heard, right? So have you found it hard to create during the pandemic, or during the national protest, or any other aspect that you wanted to touch on? Has art helped you in a sense to voice your frustration, or to begin or continue that healing process?
Yeah, for sure. There was a point during this when, I was like, I created the project, I dropped it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to like go so hard to promote it and do all of these things. But I just felt a little like, I won't say stifled, but I felt that I needed to pause. When the world was at a pause, I was like, I think I need to do that too for myself, and not, and get back to this space of creating from my inner child. Because there was a point when I would just create things and not necessarily share them, create things for me, because they feel me too, not always just creating and sharing, creating and sharing. So there was a part at the beginning, I took a break, and I just like allowed myself to breathe and just listen to what it is that I really want to say. And once the world opened back up partially, I was able to kind of create space outside of my house to create like in studios and stuff. But what I will say is that this time was again a time that I was able to look at like my guitar and be like, you know what, let me learn some chords, like let me learn how to finger pluck and play around with it. I ended up getting an electric guitar. I ended up investing some time into like sound healing and learning about tuning forks and the singing bowls and stuff. And it gave me the opportunity to assess what people need, because people have been saying like, I need to heal, like I need to figure out what my purpose is. And I've learned that through affirmations and words and intentful videos and visuals, you can really help kind of create the space for somebody to walk on that path to their enlightenment and to their clarity. So it's definitely been a balance, like Ebony said. I'm like, actually, I'm not gonna take this. I'm gonna turn the phone down today. I'm gonna turn the TV off and listen to what God is saying to me. Pray. What am I feeling? What is my body saying that I need? What is my heart saying that I need? And let my art speak through that way.
And Ebony, have you found it difficult to create during this process, or have you used it as an outlet?
I've definitely used it as an outlet. I would definitely say whew, before this pandemic, it's really strange because there's so much going on right now, whether it be environmentally, whether it be financially, whether it be politically. The list goes on. But I will say before, because everything, it feels like you have to be at a fast pace, especially me being pregnant last year and me being an artist and me being young and feeling like I need to get my product together. I needed to record, like, to the point where I was like maybe like 6 months pregnant and like traveling to Jersey City to like record. And then I would come back home to Brooklyn at like 12 o'clock in the morning. And just being in this process of like, you have time, it's okay, really dealing with that anxiety, that anxious feeling that I had. And I will say being in this, having this transition from before normal life to this pandemic, and being forced to be like, girl, now you're really gonna have to look at yourself in the mirror, and like, you have nothing to do right now. So what are you stressing about? What is your anxiety? And really pinpointing that, and then just even thinking about musically, not really, because I felt so anxious and feeling like I had to do what I started, that also stopped me from creating new music and really playing my guitar, just being creative and free. And now I like, it just happens. Like, I'm just allowing myself to go upstairs and, take my guitar, play some music. And even again, outside of music, just being creative, like using my hands. I'm really good with my hands, and, indulging in that. And I have to say, I feel a lot better than what was happening prior, and taking that time also to learn more, not just about myself but my community, and how to transition that after everything is settled, um, being more present in the community, because I have been silent and I haven't done as much as I should be doing. So have I taken this as an opportunity? I sure have.
So let's talk about that. I know that there's I don't know how to put it without placing onus or placing blame on individuals, but I'll say it, and of course feel free to chime in. We have this, as I'll say, we as consumers, as a viewing audience, we have this idea worked out in our mind that artists are supposed to be ever so vocal on issues that are happening. Artists are supposed to insert themselves into an underscore insert problem there, right? Whether it's about politics, social justice, climate issues, pop culture issues, right? But we have this notion that artists must be ever vocal as it relates to utilizing their platform. But then we also have this idea, we, meaning again as consumers, that we create a cancel culture. Whereas if an artist does speak out, it's a double-edged sword. So if you don't speak out, you're damned. If you do speak out and you don't say what it is that the viewing audience wants you to say, then you're damned as well. So being that both of you are actively involved in community affairs, rallying behind community efforts, do you ever fear that kind of backlash that comes with the responsibility of being speaking out and being vocal?
I definitely think about it sometimes. Because like when I think about responding to like what's going on, I think of Nina Simone, where she says artists reflect the times. And I know, and I've been learning to not guilt myself, because again, everybody has their role in this journey. Everyone is not meant to be on the front lines. Everyone's mental health, physical health doesn't give them that grace, to be on the front lines always. And you shouldn't guilt yourself for not being on the front lines if you can't be. Because your peace is a protest, your rest is a protest, your art is a protest. And sometimes your art can be the thing that sparks the change in the mind of the person who will lead the revolution, So I think that there's a balance with it all. I definitely know that when it comes to, I don't hold my tongue anymore in the way that I did when I was maybe in college or working with a certain group. Because sometimes you feel like, I can't say this because my job might look at me funny. But I've been just authentic, saying like, look, I don't agree with the way that we're working too hard in my job. We need to peel it back and talk about how we're actually affecting Black people in our community, because the change starts here in our community. So that's kind of just how I've been approaching it. Like, if I see an issue that happens and it hits my heart and it hits my soul, I will speak on it. But I'm not gonna guilt myself into feeling like I need to be like this person who just talks about everything, because then it's like you don't have any focus on what your purpose is. And if my purpose is to promote healing, I'm gonna go 100,000% at that and make sure that that's what I'm doing best at. And I create space for other things to come through and be supported, but I don't want to like you know, because you'll be misguided sometimes if you feel like because then you like through this pandemic we've seen protests, we've seen Black people getting killed, we've seen um, the whole Wayfair scandals, we've seen bombs in Yemen, we've seen exposing with the politicians, we've seen it all. Um, and if you can do your work to educate your family, your friends, and your community about what's going on, and let them know what they can do to affect change in those areas, I feel that you're doing your job. And if there's a way to support a big cause, whether it be through donating, whether it be through sharing a post, whether it be through, you know, signing a petition, do it. Just do what you can. You know, do what you can from where you're at is what I've learned. Because if not, you will burn out, and then you're used to no one. So that's my feedback on that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I was like, let me get my notebook and write them.
Right. Let me make sure I say the right thing.
So, the first thing I wrote is, I think artists should be vocal about what their opinions are in the world. But in that, you also need to be open to listening and learning and recognizing that what you're saying may not be correct. I think the next thing that I wrote is all about intention. If your intention is to really, come to an understanding and like I said, challenge what your approach is or what your thoughts are on certain issues, or if you're just trying to make other people feel stupid or dumb, that kind of intention of like, what I'm saying is correct 100%. Like that's just the wrong, that's just going to be the wrong delivery automatically. And with that also being said, because I said delivery is not really key, because no matter what you say, even if you're saying something in the most calmest of ways, or even if you're saying something that is factual, there are always going to be people that are going to have a problem with what you say. So then there comes to a certain point where it's like, okay, I don't really have to, like, I should not care as much. Like, I don't have to take everything so personal, as long as I know that my intention is correct. And I'm saying in the best ways possible, there really shouldn't be a problem. Now, I do think that, because you mentioned cancel culture, I think there, I think, I think there isn't necessarily, there's a problem, there's also not a problem. When you're focused on the individual, like for myself, there are certain artists that I don't listen to because I do have lines that, I feel like if you're harming other people in the most sickest of ways, like there's a spectrum of, disrespect. Once you cross that line, let's say, in the terms of, sexual abuse and everything else that follows with that, then, and also someone's, human rights, like, yes, and everything that comes with that as well. There are lines that I have drawn where it's like, I'm actually good. You can do your own healing and you could progress on yourself, but I don't want to engage in that. And then cancel culture comes out of that because the individual has made the decision. We're in a age where everybody shares on social media, everyone's talking. So, I don't think there's a problem with saying like, I don't follow this artist because like XYZ because of this reason, or I don't want to engage in this kind of person in this way because of this reason. It comes a problem when you're trying to project and you're trying to force other people to do that as well, because everybody is in different journeys and different parts in their life. And then one of the things I wrote down is being non-judgmental, to a certain degree. Recognizing that not everybody is coming from your perspective or from your moral ground or whatever the case may be, because at one point you were there as well too. Nobody's perfect. Everybody is growing and learning. So yeah, to go back on cancel culture, to button it up, I don't think there's necessarily something wrong with it. It becomes a problem when it is weaponized and there's not much learning that's going on. You're just following other people's opinions instead of doing your own research and figuring out for yourself the reason why you don't want to. Yeah, because there's a lot of learning that needs to be done in general. So the only way that you're going to learn is if people talk. The original way of learning and knowledge is through mouth, whether it be through music or just talking to your cousin, your mama, your children, and then the next village over, wherever the case may be. Like we need people. People need people. So one of the ways that we do that is by communication. So yeah.
Ooh, so let's kind of shake. It's heavy.
Sorry.
Listen, we got to talk about the real.
There's no need to apologize, because I think it's important that we have these conversations in a open, warm, inviting space where it's not I got you. This is how you feel. This is what you said. And as much as I enjoy the calling out on Twitter when people say, "Oh, is this you?"
I'll be like
things, but I think sometimes we do, as consumers, right? Because I've been there before, as a listener, or as a fan or a supporter of you forget that the individuals that you're referring to are human, and it's inevitable that they're not going to get everything right, just as you aren't. So, I mean, it's up to you to be that decision maker, whether or not you still want to continue to consume their content in any capacity, right? This doesn't just relate to music. This relates to filmmakers, to producers, to choreographers, to photographers. Like it goes across industries, business owners, right? It isn't just limited to the arts. I think it's important that we start that conversation as warmly as we possibly can. So I think it's important to say that. It wasn't to say that I'm not interested in that. It's just when you start to think about these things, it does weigh a lot on your spirit. So I do want to lighten the mood if we could, right? So let's talk about the music, right? I think that one of the things that I find the most intriguing about BYHAZE, your music, and Eboni Pearce, what you've done with BYHAZE, is the fact that there isn't a particular structure to what it is that you do. You're not following in the best ways, right? You're not following in the traditional roles of this is a bridge, this is a hook, this is a chorus, this is a verse. These are the only instruments that I can use because I'm in XYZ genre. Or these are the only topics I can talk about because
unlimited minutes.
Unlimited. Okay, she got money.
I need to make sure. I'm like, wait a minute.
right. Trust me, because Zoom be quick with it.
Child, I'm just like, let me go on real quick to see. I think I have unlimited.
But yeah, that's what I said.
That's what I said. It said this has been upgraded. The host has unlimited minutes. That's a lot.
Okay, work.
Login.
What was I saying? Oh, I think that what happens with both of you's music, and I try not to use gender terms, I'm trying to get out of that. But
yeah,
art is freeform. So I would like to talk about with you both your sounds. Like, did you traditionally study music, or how would you describe your sound? I know that BYHAZE, you said that you're a healer, but sonically, where do you get your references from?
Word. So for me, I've grown up listening to a lot of like female artists just because my voice was very high growing up. Like I was a very late bloomer. So like I used to be like an alto soprano like up until like sophomore year of high school. So then my voice started changing. I got a tenor. But I used to listen to like Beyonce growing up, Destiny's Child, Alicia Keys. And then like I would listen to also like CeeLo Green and like just weird music like I don't say weird, but Prince and just like unique sounds. My dad is a big music guy, so I would always just be in the car like he'd be blasting something. I'm like, okay, like. But then it grew up and popping like so. As I got older, my voice changed. I stopped singing for a little bit, and then I started to listen to Erykah Badu, and I was like, oh, I like this, because she was really like doing her own thing and being freeform with it, but so confident and so calm and so cool. And I just felt like where my voice was. it allowed me to kind of use mine in a way that I liked. And then I discovered Janelle Monáe, and then I started to listen to like this group called Chromeo, this like funk music, and I pull from a lot of those places. So I listen to like those intentful choices, and that informs me going above and beyond, because I don't ever want to limit myself to a one genre. I don't ever want to say I'm just a neo soul artist, or I'm just a house music artist, or an EDM, or a rock or a reggae. I can do all of that, and I think it's important to give yourself room to do all of that. So stuff like that is what influences my sound, and like as I grow, I just think of like, what is soul? Soul is rock, is James Brown, is all of these genres. Soul is a feeling. So as long as I put my heart into it, and I pull from a space of like organic creation, I know that the music will be felt by who it needs to be felt by. Freestyling is my favorite thing to do, and some of the best things come from a freestyle.
And Ebony.
Yeah. So, I'll say definitely my love of music started with my parents. You know, their kind of music that they listen to, and it wasn't the usual. You know, the R&B. Of course, I listened to R&B, jazz, and neo soul as well too. But I was also that person. Like, I could honestly say I have listened to every genre of music, and I like all of it. Country, maybe not so much. Only a couple.
Don't sleep on country. I was one of
I listen, but not all. Like, it depends
Right.
on the artist. Shoot, Bonnie Raitt. That was something I was listening to when I was in middle school. Like, and that came from my dad. I was also the person I was listening to 30 Seconds to Mars, like a whole emo rock band. You know, I was a teen kid. Like, I was listening to so much music, and I think it definitely helped into the artist that I am today, and like that inner child's way of thinking of knowing who you are and what you like, but then, you know, getting molded and being shifted to, you know, question. Like, how many times I play something in the car and be like, "Hey, yo, pass the aux, like, what you doing?" Like, you know, that kind of thing.
All the
and
time.
then like and then like not even want to listen to it anymore, but then getting back into the headspace of like, you know what, like, it's fire. Like, if I like it, I like it. And I'll say Liana Havas, oh my goodness. Like,
We love her.
when I tell you I have that album that she just came out with on wow. And I heard her too when I was like in middle school, and my dad. And that also, aside from all the other jazz singers and other folk singers as well, like, that's also a huge thing. It's just opened my just my whole thought process as far as what kind of instruments that I want to use, even sounds that I like to use, and, you know, being not scared to just have fun with the music. It's yeah. Hey.
So, I want to talk about, and BYHAZE, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this was your debut single, I Like, and it features Ebony. So
Yeah.
that come about?
So with I Like, so Ebony, right? I love this girl. We met in college when I was an RA, and like I remember one day, like my friend who was her RA, he was like,
on my floor, yeah.
On her floor, he was like, "Yo, bro, I got this resident. She's fire. Like, y'all need to connect." And I was like, "I bet." So like we went in the hallway. Ebony come out with her guitar, and she just started playing, and I'm like, "Who is this girl? Who is she?" Like, she's fire. So ever since then, we've been cool. And I'm like, we gonna make music one day. Like, we gonna make music one day. And so I got the beat from my friend Eye for Eye, and I was like, this is dope. The beat, I came up with a melody, and I was like, Ebony, like, I think you should be on this. And so we were like rehearsing for like a show. It was what show was it?
It was probably the night of R&B.
Where the night of R&B show.
Back then. Yeah.
So
it was lit.
it was a good time. Sorry, somebody called me. It was a night of R&B show, and we were rehearsing, and then I was like, "Yo, come in the car," and like we started listening to the song, and I was like, "This is the kind of melody that I'm working with," and then we came up with the "I like you like we like the fame," and it just was us going back and forth, and it just was like we wanted to kind of like talk about situationships because that's what was going on in the world at the time. Like it was hella situationships and everywhere. Okay, so I was like, "Oh yeah." So I was like, we're gonna talk about this, and I think it would be cool to like play on that story. So that's why we like wanted to talk about that. And it went from a voice memo to going to the studio one day and just organically recording it. We had a blast. Like we're goofy. Me and Ebony, literally.
Makes sense.
Like you tell them about how that went in the studio.
Oh my
And
gosh.
just on process.
Man, all we do is play. Whether it be like breaking down, just like like something like that, you know. And
Literally.
yeah, we just play. To the point where I said like literally talked to Shane before getting on this. Like we were making each other laugh, and my neck is like it hurts.
Right,
Like
we'd be like, my neck hurt.
like shut up, get off the phone. I don't know about that. But even when we think about the video, um,
Oh
uh,
my god.
right, you remember the what's the word? The reference for the video was that video between Erykah Badu and Andre 3000. What's the name of that song?
Yep. Other side of the game.
Right. And you know, other people were there as well, and it was just fun. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. We just be goofy, and even when the voice memo, like even when you listen to the voice memo of "I Like," you hear us laughing, and it's always laughs. Even when we think of the song, playing around, and like that's it.
Literally, like it's the core of it all is joy, you know. And as long as we have fun, that is felt in the creation, and I think that that's probably why it resonated with people. Like, obviously, we all been in similar situations,
Right.
and we learned why we liked it, why we didn't like it, and also just to have a male and female exchange on a song that is supportive and allows each other to shine. I think that that's what's dope about it. Like I don't feel intimidated or feel like, oh nah, she going off. I need to like we're like, yo, if this is you body this, go off, take it there, because it's about us. It's not about and then about the song. It's not like about me or Ebony individually. It's about the unit of us like getting to it. So yeah.
And I think even rarely today, you don't really see men and women doing songs together. Like it happens, but it's not as common as like all the boys on the song, all the rappers on the song, all the females on the song, you know. And yeah, that's something that just came and clicked on my head just now.
Thanks.
And I think that the song was received so well. I think it's because of the natural relationship you two have in order to really convey, as you said, joy. So the track itself was featured on BYHAZE, your debut album, Clarity, and there were a bunch of other bangers on there, right? I wish to kind of go into it. But can you tell me when you decided to release Clarity, being that it was your first full solo body of work, what was your thought process like going into it? Did you have I Like composed as well as other tracks already ready to go? Or after recording I Like with Ebony, were you like, you know what, I gotta put out a full body of work?
Yeah. So basically after I graduated in 2017, right, I was like, okay, I did my 5 years of schooling, I got the degrees. I said I would focus on my artistry when I'm done. So I told my friend, like, yo, I would love to work on a project with you because the beats you send me, they hit my soul. Like these are the type of sounds that I want to create. So he was like, I'm with it. So we agreed to work on a project. And so I Like was the first song off of that. It was supposed to feel like an interlude initially, you know, but it was so good. We were like, you know what, we're gonna let this be a song and let it stand out and make it be something that people will just replay and want to hear more of. And so that's kind of what happened. And there's this, if you like the order of the songs, it's like I Like and then Zen, which also has Ebony. Funny enough, I was like, I can't have you on both because like they're gonna be like, and then I was like, wait, you know what? girl, you gonna be on both because you bodied it. And she was like, I'm not gonna not be on both. So so it was kind of like that. Yeah, it was kind of like that. So that came about. So all of the songs produced by Eye for Eye kind of just like, I took my time with them. Like they were created between, you know, as early as 2016. I created Love Letter off when I was upset about like Philando Castile and Elton Sterling's passing that happened during the summer when I was in grad school. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna write this. And that was like the first song that like started this journey. And then the last song that was created was Breathe. And that was created in 2019 when I was like, Ty hit me up and was like, yo, this beat is fire. Like, you want it? I said, and then, you know, we recorded it. So that's kind of how it flowed. It was very organic. And my intent behind Clarity was I was gaining clarity on my purpose as an artist and not guilting myself for being an artist and the highs and the lows that I faced to get to this point, you know, the self-doubt I had to push through, the fears I had to push through, the thoughts of worthiness I had to push through to be able to say like, I am BYHAZE, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm not. And the world is supportive of it right now. My friends and family are supportive. So let me just keep creating and step into this purpose. And that's kind of how it came about. And I learned to pace myself. You know what I'm saying? Like after dropping Magnetic and seeing that, and I was like, oh, I'm here. Okay, I'm gonna like let the journey flow, and as long as they buy into it and, you know, see what they want to do, we're gonna give them this project when it's time. And I was like, 2020 Clarity, 2020, I'm gonna drop it. And it turned out to drop once the world shut down, so that we can all do the work of introspecting, because I'm a very introspective person. I'm always like in my journal, like, what am I doing? How can I be better? How can I grow? How can I evolve? How can I have gratitude? And so I wanted a project that represented that side of me and the sides of me, and the fact that I love my community. Like I'm not one of those people that's like to create alone and just have my voice solely on it. Nah, like my friends could sing, my friends could produce. I want them to show up and get some shine on them too. So that's why, like, you see the people that are featured on this, I've known them for like 4 or 5 years. Like we have relationships that have spanned for long periods of time. And I want to like make sure that they get their shine too. So I know it's long-winded, but it's facts.
So let's then talk about Clarity is out. Clarity's been received well. You just kind of spoke about Magnetic, which was also entered into competitions. Fans have commented on it.
Word.
Like a modern uptake on like Jersey Club mixed with house music, mixed with it's like it's everything in one that we love. But your new single, Fly and Free, is much different aesthetically than Magnetic was. So first tell me who you work with on Fly and Free, and then tell me if you could expand upon what that writing process was like for that track.
Word. So funny enough, Flying Free was low-key supposed to be on Clarity, because it was created around that time. Like in 2018, Ebony and I were rehearsing for I Like video release, and we were with Jalen, and he was playing the keys, and I was like, oh, this is fire. And I'm like, remember Ebony, I'm on a conference call, and I put the phone down, and I'm like, cause I'm fly.
Actually, goodbye. Voice memo.
Right, and I was like, let me record this. So I had my camera on the table recording us, and we're just going back and forth freestyling. It was just a vibe, and I was like, I got it on record, so we gonna bring this to life one day. But it took time because, you know, you had to find the producer. So we ended up sampling it, and I worked with this producer from Texas named Lars. He sampled the video and put some really dope like keys and synths behind it. And then Proda, a really dope producer from Jersey and artist from Jersey, he went in and did the drums and like the other like instrument elements, like cowbells and like wind chimes and the bongos. Like he went off. And so we were in the studio in like November of 2019 just vibing, and it came to be something new. And I was like, this is so different for me. Like, this is not what I thought this song would go. Like, I wanted this song to be on some mellow, but it is mellow, but it also has an energy to it. Kind of just like, I feel like the ancestors in them drums. So I ended up writing it in the studio with Proda during one of his live Whalebone TV sessions. And I was like, let me pay homage to Magnetic. Let me like remind these people, like, I told y'all I did that, but let me show y'all what we about to get into. And it came so naturally. And then I sent it to Eboni. And what happened? What we do?
Did the damn thing. Yeah, I wrote my part.
I came to the crib.
Yeah, we came over. Actually, I came over here. No. Was this it was in the car.
Yeah, it was in the car. I showed it to you.
It's always the car.
Always the car. It's always the car.
Yeah, I had my phone. I was like, yeah, this is lit. And I was like writing to it. Yeah, wow. There's been too many times, but it always comes down to the car. Like when I actually try to write, it's always in the car.
It's always in the car. And so we did that. We went to her house, and then we went to her house, and she was like, she bodied it. She wrote, and she's like, she just came through with on some syncopation, and I'm like, yo, spit for these people, like, and she did what needed to be done, like, and it just grew so beautifully, and I felt like, again, organic. We structure it in a way that's free, and to be fly and to be free is that, like, to not be rigid, you know, to not be heavy with the thoughts of like, oh, I have to be doing things this way and the way that society tells me to do it or the way industry tells me to do it. No, I am the innovator. I'm fly. I'm free. I'm gonna do what I please, and that's why the song came out the way it did. And I love it. I really do. I think it's like so relevant to what's going on right now, and I need it. So hopefully, the world needs it too.
I'll say even me and the words, like writing my verse, like that's something that is a reminder to myself as well too. Because it's always nice and sweet to say what you're supposed to be doing, you know, say the right things of, you know, be non-judgmental, you know, take your time, be patient. But it again, I'm 24. Wow, I just turned 24 years old. And a lot more learning to do, and I'm not where I need to be, you know, like I'm getting there, I'm there, but you know, it's called consistency. So I'll say what keeps me as consistent as I possibly can is to be really truthful about what speaks inside of the heart. And I'll say, yeah, the words, I like food, and also, you know, let's keep it going.
Word.
Listening and allowing other people to, you know, mess up what's going on for you, not be swayed.
So what's next for you all? I know that the single is out now. Being that we still are in the midst of a pandemic, even though some people believe it to be a hoax, right?
Right.
Especially for you, Eboni, being a mom, especially of a mom of a toddler, I know that safety must be extremely important to you and how you choose to create your art and to keep your family safe. So what can we expect next from the both of you? Are there going to be any virtual performances? Is there going to be any videos that we can expect? What should fans be on the lookout for?
Go ahead, Eboni. What they gonna be on the lookout for?
So, well, we are gonna release the song. That's the first step. The first step is releasing the song and having it for sale, using that to fund for the videos that's coming up. Because as you said, you don't say unsigned artists, we're independent artists, but we're funding our projects. Everything takes time, and money takes time to accumulate. So that's what's happening right now. It's gonna be really
you get it on Bandcamp.
Right, Bandcamp.
It's there. Oh, my bad. We selling it on Bandcamp because we want to like promote the revenue share day that they have on September 4th, and it's a chance for everyone to like support us and allow us to funnel the money from the revenue into a really dope visual. We're gearing up to share with you guys like some form of to invite you into the world of being flying free. The goal is to give you like a nice visual, so as long as you guys stream, support, and buy the song, it'll create space for us to give you that experience. And then outside of that, I mean, for me, I know I'm working on an acoustic project for Clarity. The world I'm a big on my guitar, I'm big on that, and so I'm working with my musical director to create a really dope acoustic project. So that will be coming out. I had made I have a dope video coming out for a song called "I Like Me" off of my project Clarity, featuring Dana and Taj, and that is just, I cannot wait for y'all to see it. And there's some other little surprises that'll be coming out in fall. Fall is going to be a dope season for Clarity. They thought it was done, but we just getting started. So.
And I'll say for myself, for us, the videos, definitely each time is going to be an evolvement from the last. So that's really excited. Just knowing about the concept itself is really cool. And personally, I have a whole album that's ready to be released, but I am very particular about my things. Like I said, I'm going to take my time, be patient, and not rush myself. So definitely, I'll say Shane's coming. I'm next in line. Basically.
Y'all better get ready for Eboni. That's all I gotta say. Because she got it. She really about to show y'all. And that's why I love working with her. Because I just believe in her. I believe in you so much. And I want the world to like, you know what I'm saying? Like, see that. Because whenever I play the songs for people, they be like, wait, who is that girl? I'm like, the name is there. Follow her. Like, stream her music. Like, she's coming. Because when she comes, it's gonna change the game. So flying free is just gonna hit y'all the same. We hope it hits you the same way that I Like hits you. We hope it makes you feel empowered. We hope you enjoy the exchange between us. You know what I'm saying? We hope it affirms your greatness, and it affirms your blackness. It affirms your presence in society. No matter how they try to hold us down, we are fly, we are free, and we do work with our ancestors and the creator, and that's why we're able to get where we're able to grow. So it's lit. It's lit. That's really all I can say. Flying free. Get into it.
Right. Okay, well.
Right, yo, you be cracking me up.
Well, thank you both so much for taking the time out to talk to us. We really do appreciate it. And, we're always here to support any creative endeavor you have. So,
thank you.
Enjoy this time, and we look forward to both projects being released. And again, if you're watching this, please support independent artists as we do here. You can support as BYHAZE and Eboni Pearce has said, by streaming their music, helping them with fundraising efforts, and or you can purchase directly by way of your preferred streaming platform. In this case, it would be Bandcamp. And want to ensure that they receive full compensation for their art. Be sure to hit that donation or that purchase up on Bandcamp Day when 100% of the revenue is given to the particular artist that you're supporting.
You see a fly like this is genetic. Never forget it, peep the aesthetic. I already told y'all that I'm magnetic. I know where I'm from, so I know where I'm headed. I balance the masculine with the feminine. Skin brown like cocoa cinnamon. I'm a sweet and spicy